This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. In today's episode, I wanted to talk on this saying that gets used a lot on within the gaming community, where if you talk on your frustrations with the video game, rather than a person understanding your frustration and I guess either trying to reason with you or trying to help you or whatever the case is, you know, they just want to jump to the good old reliable, it's a skill issue. And what trips me out about that, well, it's actually kind of funny because I don't know who it was that came up with that saying, but go back on the internet like 10, 15 years ago, you know, when they would rage quit on a video game, nobody would ever say that, you know, but somebody must have made a video, whether it was a TikTok or YouTube, whatever the case is, they said, like, they just kept saying it, and then it stuck, it became a meme. And, yeah, that's how I look at it when they just say it's a skill issue or you're having a skill issue, whatever the case is. It's, they try to, you know, they don't try to like fabricate exactly what the person said, but they, you know, they do say the same exact thing pretty much. And I'm like, fam, you know, the thing is, if somebody approaches me and they talk about, like, let's just say Forza for an example, right? Forza Motorsports 3. In my opinion, that's one of the best Forza, if not, it is the best Forza video game of all time. Forza Motorsports 3. If somebody approached me, because the funny thing is, I was in the same exact position when I very first played Forza Motorsports 3. But if somebody approached me and they was all like, oh, I don't understand the game, it's too difficult, like, because yeah, it's like, especially if you're coming from arcade racing games, yeah, that transition over into a simcade game, it's from arcade to simcade, where it's like they make it into a simulation, but it does have that arcade feel to it, where it's like, it's not ultra realistic, like you ain't got to learn like car control management, none of that stuff. Like, no, you're just playing a video game. But there are some games out there where it's like they take simulation and they kind of just, you know, they run with it pretty much. Like they make a racing game into too much of a simulation. And it's games like that where I'm like, nah, bro, that game is just unplayable, you know. But something like Forza, I think it is the perfect racing game because it's right in the middle. You don't know, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't have to be good at racing games. You have to know a little bit something about racing games, but you'll play that game and eventually it'll get to a point where it's all like, yeah, bro, I'm winning every race, first place, all that stuff. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I have no reason to struggle. If I struggle with this game in the current state where I'm at with racing games, I'm like, yeah, it might just be a skill issue. But no, it's like with Forza, I don't see how it would be, especially with my knowledge about racing games, I just don't see how it will be a skill issue. But that's the thing, though. There are other games out there than Forza where it's like the controls is going to be different, the button placements is going to be different, like Gran Turismo, for an example. I remember when I finally sat down, took the time to play that game, it was difficult at first, but eventually I figured it out and I got better at that game. And it was one of those things where I'm like, I didn't need to, I just think that it was me wanting to learn how to play that game. And it was like, it was a breeze. Like I finally had figured it out, and it was all within maybe a couple of sessions, you know, where it was like the one session of like, okay, I think I got it. And then the second session is I know I understand this game now. So at this point, it's just going to pretty much be a walk in the park, you know? And that's the thing with, and so that's the main, like, overall place where people say that it's a skill issue is Souls-like games. And because I'm trying to think, like, the times where I've talked on Armored Core, Elden Ring, Pretty much like all the games from Software, like at least the major games. Like I haven't played all their games and stuff, but the two main games that I have played from them is Elden Ring and Armored Core. And I remember when I very first played, because I think I played Armored Core first, and I remember afterwards, like people, I think that's when I have started seeing that whole like, oh, it's a skill issue thing, because they have it set up the first boss that you go up against, like you have to attack them at an angle. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going into this game thinking it's going to play out like you just have to take out the enemy before they take you out. I don't mind a game like that. I like games where I'm able to play the game how I want to play it. But if there's angles and strategies where it's like them are the only angles and strategies on how to take out that boss, that's not me playing a video game. I feel like it's me testing out a run with the video game. And that's the thing too, where it's like people, they say that, and I'm like, the only reason why you guys say it's a skill issue is because of the internet. Without the internet, you would have known nothing about that saying or how to play that video game, and you would be saying the same exact stuff that I'm saying. So that's why I find it funny when they say that. I'm like, okay, so without watching the mini tutorials and on either YouTube or TikTok, Reddit, whatever the case is, do you think you'll still be able to play Elden Ring? No. You wouldn't. That's why there's people out there where they don't mind that. Me, on the other hand, when I play a video game, I just want to play it. That's how I grew up. That's how I want to leave this world. Where if I'm playing a video game, I just want to play it. I don't want to go back and forth from the internet trying to figure out how to play this game, how to play that game, how to go up against this boss, how to go up against that boss. There ain't no fun in that. But yeah, I do remember when I started playing Armored Core, and it was like the first boss that they have you go up against. Like they have you go up against like some small little enemies. They ain't no problem. You could go through those guys, no problem. And then it's kind of like an even out match where it's like if they hit you, it's gonna do some damage. If you hit them, it's gonna do some damage. But you're the one that's in control. You're the one that went out of your way. Like let's just list out a scenario, right? You go out of your way. In the freezing cold, snowing outside, ice and snow all over the place, slip and fall a couple of times, but you finally make it up to your preferred store to go to when it comes to buying video games. Let's just say it's Best Buy. So you finally make it into Best Buy, sore from slipping and falling because of the ice and snow, but you get that Armored Core 6, you go home, slip and fall in the same exact spots and stuff, but you're like, hey, as long as I got my video game, I'll play the game in pain, but there's no way possible this game's gonna cause me mental pain. There ain't no way possible I'm gonna play this game and I'm gonna be upset playing it. Wrong. You end up installing the game, you end up playing it. Do you think, for the people out there, I guess, that don't want to do that, how would that make you feel where it's like you buy this video game, wasted your money on it because, we live in a day and age where for some odd reason we can't get a full refund, especially with physical copies of video games. That's why a lot of times, like, it's good to have a gaming PC. Actually, because if you buy it on PlayStation, there you can't get no refund. Xbox, they have it, but I think it only works for a certain amount of times. Steam, on the other hand, they do have it where it works for a certain amount of times, but eventually they start acting weird and they're like, no, you're abusing the refund system. And I'm like, no, there's games out there that I'm playing that are not good, and I don't want them in my library no more. I'm not abusing nothing. Yeah, maybe if these games had demos and trials and not know, so there's the one game, Code Vein 2, where its demo is character customization. It doesn't cover the video game, like the gameplay and all that stuff, the fighting and things. Now the first one does. The second one, for some reason, and I think they knew that the gameplay wasn't going to be all that good. That's why they were like, oh, well, let's trick people with the character customization, make it seem like it's going to be this deep in-depth game. Then when they actually do play it, it's like, there's some boss fights in that game where they're decent, but then there's other boss fights in Code Vein 2 where it's like, do you want me to enjoy this game? Do you want me to play it? Do you want me to get rid of it? Like, what's the idea with this game? Because last I checked, I went out of my way, I bought this game, I just want to play it. I'm not trying to go back and forth from the internet. And then on top of that too, it's like, so you listen to the people on the internet and they say, oh, you got to parry, you got to do this, you got to do that and stuff. And you do that and you still get killed. And it's like, fam, And so that's, for those that don't know, Souls-like video games, they're fighting games. They just add Souls-like to them because the developers, for some odd reason, refuse to add difficulty settings. And then that's one thing that I see where it's like, okay, so like with Armored Core and Elden Ring, like Elden Ring, I think that's where I started saying that. Armored Core, I was like, no, I'm not going to play this game no more. That's stupid to play a game where it's like, you have me go up against the first boss of the game and I keep getting killed. No, that's dumb. I was like, I don't care what anybody says. You can sit here and try to have a whole elaborative argument with me. I'm still going to feel the same way I always felt with Armored Core. It's dumb to have it where you want me to play this game, but you can't get past the first boss unless you go to watch some YouTuber or some TikToker on how they took out the boss. I'm like, I'm not trying to do that. And it shouldn't be up to people to comment underneath my videos explaining to me how to play a video game. I should just be able to play this game. Every other game is played like that. Why the Souls-like games got to be different? The funny thing is that you can put somebody that doesn't know nothing about racing games, you could put them in front of a racing game. They'll learn how to play that game. I say that because I remember when I got my family into playing Mario Kart again, they were more so used to Mario Kart Wii, where it had like the steering wheel and you can turn and stuff on it. So they had to adapt and learn how to play the game all over again. But after, maybe the first day of us playing the game, they knew how to play it. They knew how to and so that's the thing. Like, I know people are gonna probably be all like, oh, racing games is a little bit easier than Souls-like games. Yes, because the developers know that there are going to be people that are going to play this game for the first time. So they're like, hey, you know what? Let's just have it where, this game, there's easy, medium, and hard. And I'm like, what's wrong with that? And so, no, the funny thing is, so this guy, it wasn't because it was talking, I think it was on the game Code Vein 2. And I said that. I'm all like, this game needs a difficulty settings. It just doesn't make any sense where it's like, okay, I know I can't play it on the difficulty settings that it is right now. So wouldn't it be easier if you guys just came out with an update, came out with an easy mode? I've seen developers do it before. What game was it where they just recently, I think it's like something Dawn. It has like Dawn in the name of it and stuff. Hold on for a second. Let me find this game because I do have it wish list. And because I wanted to play it at some point in time. Do I have this game wish list? I could have sworn I had it wish list. That's crazy. I could have sworn I had this game wish list. Hold on for a second. It's like is it the New Dawn or Chronos, the New Dawn. And they just recently came out with an update where they added an easy mode. Hold on for a second. Yeah, there's like Temporal Diver, easy difficulty available. Now, my thing is this game's been out since last year, September 5th of last year. How is it that they know overall people are struggling with the game. So that's why they came out with an easy mode. And so and I've seen where people have said this before, where a difficulty settings will ruin the video game. How? You're not playing my video game. I'm playing my video game, and I'm having an issue with the difficulty of the game. So wouldn't it make sense if they lowered the difficulty and I could just play the game and I'm not having to run back and forth to the internet? Because this is what I personally think when I have to do stuff like that. I think when companies, when they make a video game that's hard to where you got to go back and forth from the internet, because you can watch videos of people playing Forza. There ain't no videos explaining, unless maybe there is, but I'm like, I see mainly people doing, posting clips of like, oh, I hit this dope jump in Forza, or there's a car landing on top of my car and they got second, or I got second place because their car was slightly ahead and they crossed the finish line first. Like, I'm seeing clips that are entertaining. I'm not seeing clips on, oh, this is how you beat this car. This is how you beat that car. This is how you'll see videos like that for Souls-like video games. But this is what I personally think. I think that it's people that post clips. Yeah, and there might be like some, fans that are posting the clips too. But I feel like when we see them day one videos of, this is how you beat this boss, this is how you beat that boss, it's either the developers that I don't know, maybe they are going underneath some, different name or whatever. Or yeah, they're a content creating name, or it's the friend of the developers where it's like, okay, they told me pretty much, I ain't gonna tell you guys that they told me how to beat this boss, but yeah, you'll see it in the video where it's like, because if there's no other tutorial, there's no other way, then it's like, how's a person supposed to know how to beat this boss? The game just came out. How's there already how to beat this boss video, how to beat that boss video, how's there videos of those, how's there videos of that already and it's posted and the game just came out? So that's why I'm like, man, I don't like doing that. Like, I don't mind giving people the views. I don't mind watching videos and supporting channels, but I don't want to watch how-to videos after how-to videos after how-to videos. I'm just trying to play a game. If I want to see any Elden Ring content or Armored Core content or Code Vein content, I want to see entertaining content. I want to see content where it's either I can laugh or be like, oh, this is a really dope cinematic fight. Oh, this is like, oh, I didn't know that there is this. Yeah, maybe if it's some things like that where it's like, oh, how to find, like if it's an achievement and they're like, oh, this, there's a hidden area that you got to explore to find some boss or something like that. If the boss is beatable, cool. But yeah, I think that'll probably be the only thing where it's like, yeah, if it's like once or twice, but if it's like every aspect of the game where I'm having to look up some stuff, fam, that's not a skill issue on the fan. That's a skill issue on the developer for not knowing how to add difficulty settings into their game. If there's all these other different games from God of War, Forza, I'm trying to think of some other games out there that has difficult, so you know what, that's one game that I actually did want to mention where it has like a lot of different, pretty much like that's the main thing of the game, our boss fights, but Monster Hunter Wilds, so, and even Monster Hunter World, because I remember I did play a little bit of that on the PlayStation. By the way, if you guys follow me on Twitch, I will be playing, I think I am going to try to test out Monster Hunter Worlds again, because I have been playing a lot of Monster Hunter Wilds, and the crazy thing about it is that, so they do consider that game a Souls-like game because the game, it doesn't have no difficulty, but they know that people don't know how to take out some big old giant frog. Where are some of the enemies that I went up against? Big old giant frogs. What else? Giant spiders that spray out poisonous flowers at you. What else? I think I went up against a ice spider where it was like off up in this mountain area and things. What other enemies have I went up against some like fire apes or gorillas, whatever they called them and stuff. There was like a gang of different enemies, and the developers know, like, okay, we know that these guys don't know how to fight these enemies for real, and like, cause I guess like, if I knew how to fight some big old giant like Elden Ring, if I knew how to fight some big old giant golden man on a golden horse, then okay, then playing that game would be easy. I guess it's, with driving, because it's like, you see those games and it's like it's those like games that's like stuff that you're doing in real life. It's a walk in the park. But there are some games out there where it's like, no, because there was the one game that I just recently played where it's like, it showed the lack of development with that game, and most people would just call it hard, but I'm like, no, it's not hard, it's just the lack of development. But there's this game called Apex Rush. It's a racing game. If you guys are, because if you follow me on my gaming channel, there's this one game that I used to play a lot called Distance. And that was a game where that's pretty much what Apex Rush is. It just looks like you're off up in the sky or something, instead of like some Tron, legacy like area and stuff. I don't know. But anyways, no. So, and even with Distance, I'm like, I never had issues with the car control in that game. Like, yeah, there would be things that'll catch you by surprise. But other than that, I never had an issue with the car control. Apex Rush, on the other hand, it's like, fam, I feel like I'm relearning how to play a video game, and I'm like, it shouldn't be like that. It's like, if it's a driving game, you would think that if you're making a video game and it's based off of driving, you don't have to copy what other people are doing, but it probably would be best if you kind of did some research on the genre, where it like on the, for the video game that you're developing, but do some research in that genre. So look at how people, drive in Forza. Look at how people drive in Gran Turismo. Look at how people drift in Car X. And it's like, you don't have to use exactly what they're doing, but at the same time, don't do some stuff that we ain't used to. And then we're playing this game, and it's like, fam, what's going on? Like, the car can't reverse. The car, when it drifts, it over drifts, or it's like, it doesn't drift at all. What else? And then when they have it where you're hitting jumps on the, it's like, I don't know whether to call them time attacks or trials or whatever, but there's like, so in that Apex Rush game, they have the drifting mode, and then they have like just go through checkpoints and stuff. And the go through checkpoints, they have it where you got to hit a jump, but it's like, if your car is going slow, then it's like, okay, how am I supposed to hit this jump? Like, do I need a car that jumps higher? Do I need like, do I need to pretty much do how I'm doing with all these other different games, go back and forth from the internet to figure out how to play the game, versus me just sitting down and just playing the game? But talking about Monster Hunter Wilds, I ain't never had to go to the internet, even because so with Monster Hunter Worlds and Wilds, those are two games where it's like they play out like Souls-like games, and I'm not trying to hear because they actually have Souls-like. I don't think they have it in the tags of Monster Hunter World, but Monster Hunter Wild, they do have it where there's it has the Souls-like tag. So I played this game, and I've been playing a lot of this game. I have yet to go to the internet to figure out how to kill a boss or enemy in the game. Now I have, and that's one thing that I do like about Monster Hunter Wilds, is that the game is very forgiving. And then on top of that, you can play the game however you want to play it. So it ain't no, oh, you got to learn this strategy to kill this enemy. No, you just got to be quick on your feet, have some decent upgraded weapons, and you have to attack weak spots on the enemies. It doesn't matter in a Souls-like game, because in Code Vein 2, there ain't no weak spots on the enemies. I don't even think it was like that for Code Vein 1, but I think I did hear that Code Vein 1 was a lot easier than 2. But there ain't no, and if there is any weak spots on Elden Ring and Armored Core, well, yeah, I think there was on Armored Core. You have to attack the boss underneath them and stuff. And I'm like, fam, why though? Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, and that's the difference between Armored Core, Elden Ring, and then Monster Hunter Wilds, is that, yeah, if you very well can attack the weak spots on Monster Hunter, but if you don't want to, like, yeah, you could just go crazy on that enemy. Like, every spot on it is a weak spot and stuff if you hit it hard enough. But yeah, with Armored Core and Elden Ring, it ain't like that. You know, like, I don't even, and like with Armored Core, it's like with it's because there was other enemies that I went up against where it was like they didn't even have, so no, Armored Core ain't got no weak spots. Elden Ring, I think I remember I only had went up against 2 bosses in that game. They ain't had no weak spots either. It was like the only thing that has a weak spot is you, and it's your whole body. You get hit twice in them games, and it just seems like that's just the go-to thing. You get hit like two to 4 times, and then you're dead. And then it's like with Monster Hunter Wilds, it's like, yeah, it'll take you a while, but you got health, this like the herbs or something like that, where it's like it transfers over into a health potion, or you have to make it into a health potion, but you get like a gang of those, and then you can use them as many times as you want, I guess, if depending on how many that you have. But yeah, you can use them as many times as you want in the middle of a fight. But then on top of that, the enemy, they're not doing a gang of damage to you and stuff, so they'll hit you, and it's like if you have good armor and all that, and they make sure of it that you have that when you very first start playing the game, whereas I take that back, as the game goes on, like, you have to whatever stuff that you get from the enemies, because you can use like their skin or bones, whatever, and then you can make armor out of it and stuff. But overall, though, pretty much the point that I'm trying to make is that Monster Hunter Wild, even though it's a Souls-like game, that's more playable than Elden Ring and Armored Core and Code Vein, because they know that it's like the people that are playing, they don't have no knowledge of going up against what was the Franz? I think that was the name of the boss in Code Vein 2. Yeah, there was like, people ain't got no knowledge of how to beat them unless they go from a YouTube video to a TikTok and Reddit post and all these other different things and forum websites and stuff. Yeah, they know that people, if they're doing that, then that's how they're gonna have to figure out how to beat that boss. But other than that, I guess if a person ain't trying to go back and forth from the internet, how is a person supposed to beat that boss? Especially, it's like if they ain't trying to like look up no shit, they just want to play the game and be surprised. But it's like, you gonna be watching that stuff, and the next thing you know, something done got spoiled for you. That's why people be wanting difficulty settings, so they ain't got to do that, and they can just play the game, and they don't have to worry about nothing being spoiled for them. But it's like the more, and that's one thing that I learned, it's like the more times you look up content on a video game, that's why I try my hardest not to look up nothing about a video game, because I know that I'm gonna see something that I don't want to see. Mess around and see the ending of a video game, and I'm like, fam, I didn't want to see that. I wanted to see just overall how to beat this boss and things. But yeah, it's like, because the algorithm nowadays on the internet, that's why I'm like, yeah, I just don't like doing that. But going back to what I remember that guy was saying, though, about Code Vein 2, he was like, a difficulty settings would ruin the game. How would that ruin the game? How are the difficulty settings? Because it just seems like that you're trying to justify the game being unplayable. And I'm like, fam, there ain't no justifications for that. A person doesn't pay $60 to $70 for a video game to have it where they can't play it unless they go back and forth from the internet to figure out how to play it. There ain't no fun in that. And that's the thing. When you look at video games from back like 20 years ago, back during the PlayStation 2 era, the Xbox era, GameCube era, even if you go back some time before that, there wasn't no YouTube. There wasn't no TikTok. There wasn't no Reddit where you can go there and figure out how to play the game. Yeah, you might be able to get one of them big old giant guidebooks, but if you were a kid like me, your parents like, no, we're going up to this store, we're getting this video game, you ain't getting nothing else, we're leaving, and you going to be happy with whatever video game that you get or with the one that you asked for. So you ain't had no choice but to figure out how to play the game. But at the same time though, they didn't have it where a game was mad difficult to figure out. Games back then, like, it's funny because I'll play games from back then and playing them now, and I'm like, man, what happened? Like, where did you guys go wrong? Because there is games that I play, like, there's some games that I play where it's like, yeah, I can understand why this game didn't take off. Like, I can understand this was the last time you guys did this game and you didn't do no other games after that, or the studio got sold off to another company, because if that's the best that y'all can come up with, that's why y'all ain't doing stuff no more. Yeah, you'll see that from time to time from them old video games. But other than that, there's a lot. I feel like them developers, they was like, we know that people aren't going to be happy if we come out with a bad game. So let's just have it where games is playable. There ain't no funny business going on with the game. Like, no, you can play this game and ain't gonna be no problems about it and stuff. So yeah, I don't get, but it then going back to the original topic, the skill issue stuff. Like I said before, there ain't no such thing as a player having a skill issue. Most gamers that I know done played just about every single video game out there, from fighting games, racing games, stealth games, loud and proud. Yeah, when it's all, just all out war and combat, like some Battlefield stuff or whatever and things. But yeah, everybody them from scary games to what else? I'm trying to think. Adventure games, mystery games. We done played just about every single video game out there. So it trips me out when they say that you have a skill issue, and I'm like, fam, I've been playing multiple video games for multiple genres for a long time, over 20 years. I read my thing, and then it's funny how it's like a person with 20 plus years of experience in a video game will have more of a skill issue than somebody that just started developing a video game 4 or 5 years ago. That just don't, like, I'm not believing in that. So anyways, with that being said, yeah, that's something that it's like, just saying it out loud now, I'm like, man, it makes no sense when they say that. And I'm like, yeah, it's who do you think is going to have more experience in a video game? Somebody that's been playing video games for 20 plus years. Almost like, well, because I'm trying to think. I started playing video games, I think I had to have been like 2 or 3 years old. I can't remember exactly when I put the Nintendo 64 controller in my hand, but I've been playing video games for that long and stuff, so, and it's funny how it's like, playing video games for that long, somebody would really not even look you in your face, because ain't nobody gonna approach you talking about old skill issue and crap. No, it's like they gonna say that crap on the internet because that's how it got started. But overall, though, it's probably somebody younger than me, too. Like, that's the funny thing about it. Just some kid. And I'm like, fam, I've been playing video games longer than you've been alive. So you ain't gonna sit here and try to convince me of a skill issue of a video game where they most likely just started development of it, 2-3 years ago. And then it's like they just slap some things together and call it a video game. So I'm like, and that's one thing about it. I cannot wait for the day, because I would love to do that. I would love to sit down and take the time. And I'm like, it's going to be any moment now where I sit down and I take the time to develop a video game of my own. And when I do, it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm going to make sure of it, that I listen to my audience. I'm not going to play some old beast mysterious and act like I ain't going to listen to nobody and all this other. No, I know I'm putting out a video game that people are going to have to pay for. So, or if not that, it's going to be a free game or a free demo, whatever the case is. But overall, though, I cannot wait for the day I come out with a video game and it really shows developers like, dang, we're messing up. We're slacking. We got to get our act together and things. So, but anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow or subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.